All right, good morning, everybody. I've done this before. Thank you so much for coming out. I've met, I believe, most of you in the past week or in the past couple of months, talking about culture and various aspects of it. Well, today we want to really hammer that home, and we want to do a couple of things. I'm going to call up my chief of staff, who's going to just give us a brief, introduction and welcome, and tell us what this is all about. Okay?
Good morning, everyone. There's no energy. Good morning, everyone. Great, that's better. On behalf of the President and the Group CEO, Mr. Emmanuel Norom, I welcome everyone to this epoch-making event, the Culture Day. The HH Culture Day. There is no day like this. We've not had this kind of experience, and it's happening for the first time. We give all the glory to God for keeping us alive, our families, and for bringing us here and making it possible for us to witness this occasion. He will see us through, and we'll finish well in Jesus' name. Lola? Yeah. Today is the tomorrow we discussed yesterday. So, it is a day for us to interact with ourselves, with the chairman, and mingle. We want to launch the HH culture, the codes. We want to launch our TVC, and we're going to have a whole lot of activities to really bond together. Among the definitions of culture that I looked around and I saw, the one really appealed to me. It defined culture as a way of life of a group of people, the behaviors, the beliefs, the values, and the symbols that they accept generally without thinking about them, and that are passed along from one generation to the next. I find this definition truly apt and fit for our purpose. What he's saying here is culture can be taught, culture can be learned, culture can be imitated, culture can be imparted, okay, and passed on from one generation to another. So what we're doing here is not what I might call the accident scene syndrome. You know, when you pass an accident scene, all of a sudden everybody starts driving slowly. Oh, there is, you don't remember what happened. In a few seconds, you zoom off. That's not what we're here for. It is the foundation that we're building for a great institution that HH stands for. For only 3 years, that the ministry of our Lord Jesus lasted on earth, impacted the world, and for 2,000 years to us, that culture is still there. It's still being passed on from generation to generation. People were the followers of Christ, prayed the way he prayed, behaved the way he behaved, acted the way acted, did the things he did. And when he divided the earth, they started calling him, the followers, Christians, because they behave in a designated way, in a definite way. That's what culture does. At the time you have imbibed the culture of a place, of an organization, of a team, anyone coming into that organization will learn the culture. That is why it amazes me, you see Nigerians will leave the shores of this country in a very rowdy way, throwing things on the street. The moment they get into UK, the moment they get into Europe, the organized world, you'll be surprised. The same Nigerians will comport, they will change, they will adapt. That is what culture does. They adapt to the culture of discipline, to the culture of cleanness, of excellence. So Hays Holdings is building an enduring corporate culture that will meet the founder and present-day employees. This is what culture does, or we do for us. So, by our behaviors in private and in public life, people should be able to recognize us as HH people. Even without our lapels, somebody should be able to look at us and say, you behave like these HH people because of our quality. That culture is founded on the 3 E's, the enterprise, excellence, execution. So the event today is designed to communicate a common understanding of these values. So, part of the activity today is to launch the new culture code officially. The copies are made available there. We also launched the internal culture TVC, carry out team bonding, team building activities, demonstrate and communicate the core values. One will ask, why is this core value? What is the importance of core values? This is illustrated in this dashboard. You can see the know what the corporate goal of HH is, and that of the university companies that are here present. And the purpose succinctly put, Hays Holdings is improving lives, transforming a continent. This is the short form. Okay? The longer form is that Hays Holdings is improving life across Africa, investing in key sectors that are transforming the continent. Okay. This is our purpose. And this what we invest. Does it improve life? Will it transform the continent? Okay. This is our guiding principle. And then just below that you have the corporate goals. The corporate goals are measurable standards, performance that will take us to this purpose. So we have it in medium, in the short term, medium term, and the longer term. The phase 1 of our corporate goals is to be top 3 ranked company in every sector, every market we play in by revenue in the year 2020. So we begin to guard and gauge ourselves. How are we doing? How well are we doing in this? Are we getting there? Are we number 3? Are we number 2? We want to be number 1. In the phase 2 of our corporate goals, we want to be within the top 5 ranked institutions by revenue across Africa in 2025. And finally, in the phase 3 and ongoing, to be a Fortune 500 company by 2030. These laudable goals are how we perform. And so we have one over the enterprise, the passion, the ingenuity, the tenacity, having the willingness and the resourcefulness to do whatever it takes to get the job done. Okay? Excellence, responsiveness, diligence, distinction, delivering in an outstanding manner, consistently, not a fly night, just do it today and back to errors the next day. Execution, hard work, result-driven, accountability, a burning desire to always see things completed in a timely, efficient, and effective manner. This is the pillar. This is how we are built, okay? And so we also have this in an illustration form, the same thing I've just said. And then what is the interface? Our purpose, our essence, we live the values. We live the value. Interface. And that is why the chairman keeps on emphasizing the importance of communication. Communication is key. You must communicate. And what we're doing today is to communicate to you these core values. What is your role today in this event? Sit back and enjoy. Participate as appropriate. Next slide. It is not, we're not here just to entertain you, we're also to entertain us, but we entertain ourselves. At the end of the day, we want to live here with a memory. We want to live here with happiness. We want to live here fulfilled and in a common platform that we understand what we are talking about. We understand where we are going, and we are determined to live these values. It's not just here, we don't finish here, you park it here and you leave. No, it must reflect in your relationships. It must reflect in who you are. It must reflect in your performance. It must reflect in everything you do. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Good morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
I thought we were more. When I speak, I usually say we're about 3,000 the group. I'm not sure we're up to 300 here. What's up? Others are not here yet. I thank God it didn't rain today in Lagos, so it can't be rain. If people have spent time organizing, planning for such a good outing, I think we should participate. I also observed that a number of universities are back. We've been on our phones. I just like to urge you respectful of what we're discussing here, and also the people who have spent time organizing this, for us to come here and just be on our phones. So let's try, please, to pay little attention, some attention to this session. I'd like to introduce Maxwell. No, but before I introduce Maxwell, it's always good. Lola and Co, they welcomed us. To also say to them, well done, thank you. I like this hall, and I'm sure you all do. You all like this hall too. They put in a lot into this session. So let's listen to them. So Lola, Temitope, and others who work behind the scene, well done. So far, so good. Maxwell, please come and stand here. You see this man looking dapper. This is tie. I shall, by the powers conferred on me, I might have to take this tie. The man is total, complete. I saw him outside. I said, okay, let's have a selfie. Let's have a selfie for this is strong looks. So Maxwell is going to take the stage now. he's going to talk to us about, anyway, let him say it himself. So let's listen and enjoy ourselves. Master, you're welcome. Thank you. I don't know if you need this or that, whichever one you prefer. Please, this is not good. Let's hear good production.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning. The energy is low. Good morning. Okay, it's getting better. Good morning. Okay, thank you, Chairman, the President of the Health Holding Group, and all protocols observed. Today, for me, it's an epoch-making event. It's a day that when the history of Africa is rewritten, today will be mentioned. Today will go into history like the day, May 25th, 1961, when JFK stood before the Joint Congress and asked America to take a man to the moon, send a man to the moon, and bring that person back before the decade is out. We are not sending somebody to the moon, but we are sending companies to the different countries in Africa to change the countries and the continent of Africa. Today we'll also go down history, like August 28, 1963, when Martin Luther King Jr. stood on the steps of Lincoln Memorial and gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, and forever tilted the landscape of the civil rights movement. Or we could also liken today with January 9th, 2007, when Steve Jobs stood at Macworld and introduced the iPhone, and it caused a revolution in the telecom space and the smartphone industry. Because what we are doing today is making history. What we are doing today is reshaping the future of the next generation. What we are doing today is ensuring that Africa, the Africa that we would live, will be better than the Africa that we met. So today for me is a history-making day, and I'm excited to be a part of that history. Are you excited? I don't see the excitement on your faces. Are you excited? It was a speech. And why I started with those three examples was because only men and organizations with purpose change history. You can achieve success without purpose, but you cannot achieve greatness without purpose. It takes purpose to achieve greatness. It takes purpose to leave a legacy. It takes purpose to turn around a continent. It takes purpose. I'm waiting for my slide to come up. It takes purpose. Next slide. This man, Simon Sinek, wrote a beautiful book. And the title of the book is Start With Why. And in this book, he talked about different companies, different organizations, different individuals. And the common theme, the recurring decimal, why they were able to achieve so much success is because they started with why. And you see the subtitle is how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. We talked about the story of Apple, he talked about the story of Southwest, he talked about the Wright brothers who did not have resources, but what they had was a sense of purpose, and that purpose enabled them to achieve success. And he says a lot of organizations know what they do. What you do is a product that you sell, it's a service that you deliver. What you do is insurance, what you do is oil and gas, what you do is medical, what you do is agriculture. That is what you do. And in this book, it says a lot of people can tell you what they do, but very few can tell you how they do it. In your how, we are talking about your core competencies. In your how, we are talking about your value propositions. In your how, we are talking about your proprietary processes. In your how, we are talking about your sense of differentiation. How do you do it? That very few companies can describe their how, even though they know their what. But it says the anomaly is that there are very, very few companies that can tell you about their why. The why they do what they do, they've lost that. And it says in this book that the individuals and the companies that succeed, the individuals and the companies that redefine their industries, the individuals and companies that change the rules of the game are people that started with why, not with what and not with how. Is that why that gave birth to the how? Is the why that gave birth to the what? In the article, How Great Companies Think Differently by Rosabeth Moskanta. Rosabeth Moskanta has been voted as one of the top 50 best executive of the 20th century. She said there's something common. The first thing she noted is a common purpose. That's the first thing that she noted. There is purpose that gives identity, your centerpiece, your cornerstone that gives you that sense of identity. And that is what sets great companies apart. It's a sense of purpose that sets great companies apart. If you use the analogy of the human body, I think the human body, I want to divide it into three major parts with respect to what I am teaching this morning. The three parts is the external. The external is about your height, your size. The external is about your dimension, your physique. So in your external, I see your color. In your external, I see even the people, your branding. In your external, I see the size of the organization. In your external, I see how beautiful you are. And that's the external part of the body. There's another external part of an organization, which is your organizational structure. So in your external, I see the division, I see the hand, I see the eyes. So in a lot of organizations, you have what is called an organogram. But you see, what they have is an organogram without an organ system. What do I mean? An organogram puts individuals in boxes, but there's no connection. So the silo mentality, the tough wars, the politics that happens in organizations are simply an organization that has an external organogram, but there's no organ system working together collaboratively to achieve goals. When you move one step further in the human body, base of the brain, and you see the emotive capacity of the brain. So in an organization, I understand if I move beyond the external structure, the color of your organization and how people are divided in the organization, I want to find out, does an organization have a brain? And in that brain, I want to find out how are decisions made. Are people empowered to take decisions? Who makes decisions in that organization? Where is decision power concentrated? Is the brain. I also see the knowledge capacity of brain. Can I say this to you? Just like cars, wear and tear, depreciation, and in a lot of organizations, at the end of the 4th year, that car will be written off as 0 in the organization's book. Doesn't mean that the car is functional, but in terms of value, that car is 0. Can I say this to you? I actually believe that your intellectual capital depreciates within 2 years. That every 2 years, if you don't replenish your intellectual capital is 0, even though you are still functioning. So I want to see, as an organization, are we replenishing our intellectual capital? Because what we know yesterday is not sufficient for today and will not take us into tomorrow. So in these organizations, you have organizations where they invest in replenishing the human capital of that organization. It's called your collective knowledge base, your collective intellectual capital. What we know about our industries, about our customers, about the market that sets us apart is the brain of that organization. And the third part of the brain is the emotive center, the interrelationship, the connections, the conflict resolution, the way we connect, the collaboration, the emotive center. Now, if I come into your organization, I will know whether your organization is just body, all beauty, no brain. I call it a dead carcass. It's beautiful, but it's dead. All I see is just the external. If I go internally, I see the brain of that organization, but the heart of the organization is its purpose. The heart. Next slide, please. The heart of every organization is the purpose. And you know that without the heart, it doesn't matter the decision-making rights in that organization. Without the heart, it doesn't matter how big and beautiful that organization is. Without the heart, and the heart is the purpose. And the question here I need to ask is, do we have heart in our companies? I think today, what we are trying to do is not heart surgery, but is to ensure that the heart of holding group of companies are functional. Because it's what gives back. If you don't understand why this is, because some of us will be wondering, why a purpose statement? If you don't understand that purpose is the heart of an organization, and if you see the challenges in a lot of companies that are successful and start having problems, it's as a result of purpose. Uber, for example, was a company that grew so big and lost sight of its original purpose. Without purpose, the company cannot succeed on the long run. How that actually determines how fast you would run. Next slide. Thank you. Next slide. That connection, and that connection can be to your customers, that connection can be to your industry, that connection can be to a geography. So today our connection in the Hess Holding Group is to Africa and all the customers and industries in Africa, because we are playing in different industries. But in that connection there is the concept of contribution, saying I am here for you, saying I live because of you, I'm existing for you. So in your purpose, I see your contribution. I see the value that you want to add. I see how you want to make the world a better place. How you want to make a difference. I see the thumbprint of excellence. I see the footprints that you want to leave behind for the next generation. I see the patterns. I see the things that you're putting in place to make Africa better. So one way to ask if your organization or if an individual has purpose is to ask this question: if I remove this organization or this individual from that organization or the organization from this industry, what would the industry miss? So what would the industry in Ghana, what would the industry in Uganda, what would the country in Ghana, the country in Uganda miss? If we don't enter Uganda, if we don't enter Rwanda, what would they miss? What would they miss if, for example, the group decides to inverted comma, fold up and do something else? What would the Africa miss if we are not in Africa? If we are not in that sector, what would that sector miss? And if we cannot answer that question, it simply means that we don't have a sense of purpose. Because in that sense of purpose, people see contribution, people see value. Please, I need you to go for time's sake. I'm watching my time, I have 30 minutes. And I said here on this slide that your connection is external. Next. See, goals can be very competitive. Goals can be competitive, but purpose is not competitive. Because in purpose, we'll work with anybody that shares the vision of transforming Africa, of improving lives and transforming the continent. Because ultimately, our purposes are usually bigger than each one of us. That's what purpose is. It's bigger than each one of us. And in purpose, we're not competing. If we understand this, we understand that although we might be in different companies, although we might be in different subsidiaries under the group, although we might be in different functions in the company, but we're not competing with each other. We are collaborating to achieve a common goal and a common purpose. Our targets might be different. Our functions might be different. How we are measured might be different, but there's only one goal, and that goal is towards this improving lives and transforming the continent. So we need to understand that. So the other subsidiary companies are not enemies. The enemies is not within the group. Purpose is non-competitive. Because if we don't get this, all the tough wars, you know what I say to people always is that the people who are trying to dominate the earth do not have time for the arrangement of flowers in the garden. The people who are trying to dominate the earth, when something is big and so big and great, and you're focused on something so big and great, you don't have time for those little arrangement of flowers in the garden. When people are arguing and fighting over the arrangement of flowers in the garden, it simply means that they have lost sight of the earth, of their purpose of transforming a continent. It simply means that. And you know, the first week I talked about using the scriptures. Can I say this to you? I tell people we need to understand this, that you can actually find purpose in the context of work. And I'll come to it because I'll use a work example. You can actually find purpose in the context of work. And I'll show you how you can connect that. Next slide says, this is the connection. We start with purpose, but ultimately, it's superior result that we're getting to be within 2020. You understand, we have different goals. Top 3 in every sector. By 2025, top 5, you understand, by revenues in Africa. By 2030, a Fortune 500. To a sense of meaning. It tells me, okay, now I understand what we are. Now I understand what we are trying to do. That's that sense of meaning. People come to work knowing why they are doing what they are doing. That knows what and how will always have a job, but the man that knows the why will always be his boss. Because that man that knows the why is the boss. He understands why. So the next thing we'll see, when there's a sense of purpose, that my task becomes meaningful. I understand the value that this task contributes. So I gave the example, for example, God placed man in the garden to till the garden, but the purpose was to dominate the earth. So in tilling the garden, man understands, I am not just planting seed or I am doing something bigger than planting seed. It's understanding the sense of meaning. It's connecting your task with the ultimate goal. I might be a security man, I might be a receptionist. That's a task. But when I see that my task is connected to the overall purpose of improving lives and transforming a continent, that task becomes meaningful. I can say this with all sense of certainty. There is no job that doesn't have a tendency to become boring with time. There's no job. The first day you perform heart surgery as a heart surgeon, it will be exciting. Performing heart surgery, by the time you do the 50th, the 60th, the 70th, the 1,000 heart surgery, over time, that it becomes monotonous, it becomes boring. The only thing that keeps a job exciting is not the JD. No, yes, we need to do job enrichment, it's important, but when you enrich, after a while, you need to keep enriching, It's purpose that gives meaning to jobs. Until I see that as a doctor, take for example, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm helping this patient. As I was driving here, for example, thinking through this, I said to myself, and I said to somebody that I have a young daughter, you understand, born the day after the chairman's birthday. So I can't forget the chairman's birthday because they are very similar. A young daughter. And in my heart, I wished my late mother was alive to see my daughter. And I said to myself, when a doctor understands that I'm keeping this patient alive, because there are people who are living will add joy to a generation. It gives meaning to your task. It gives meaning to your task. If you cannot see the essence, if you cannot see the granddaughter who would like to see the grandmother, if you cannot see the son who will wish that mother will carry granddaughter, if you cannot connect that, that job will become boring. Have you ever wondered why organizing the military, people would give their life for the military, and yet they're not so paid the way bankers, oil and gas workers are paid? Yet the people in the oil and gas sector, insurance that earn so much, cannot purpose. They tell you that you're defending the integrity of this nation, you're helping to keep this country safe. That in the military is purpose that attracts you. In the oil and gas sector, in the banking sector, we attract people with pay and with perks. And studies have shown pay and perks do not have lasting impact in keeping people motivated. If you need to keep people motivated, you need to have a sense of purpose. I don't know if I'm communicating. That purpose does, meaning gives back to a sense of passion and motivation. So you see, when people understand, you don't need to motivate them. When people understand, you can inspire them, but you don't need to motivate them. You can inspire them to dream more, to believe more, to become more, but you don't need to be motivated because they are self-motivated. They know why. They know why now, so they look forward to coming to work. They say to themselves, thank God it's Monday, not thank God it's Friday, because there's a sense of passion that is brought better for meaning, which is as a result of purpose. There's a sense, because motivation is simply a compound word that says motive and action. So I want you to act, but there's a motive. Without the motive, what I'm doing is I will either use the carrot and stick approach to get you to act. And the day the carrot and stick approach is not there, I will develop passion on the job or to be motivated on the job. You need to give them that sense of meaning for purpose. And passion and motivation gives back to discipline and creativity. And discipline is one of the pillars of the 3 E's. Gives back. see purpose in the day-to-day interactions that happens in the workplace. That's when I see purpose. You know, sometimes we tell people, we talk about vision, and I like the fact that we are moving away from mission and vision, we are moving to purpose and goals. We talk about vision, and they usually say where there's no vision, the people perish. But if you check the original root word, and I've said this so many times when I've come to HK, that root word says where there's no vision, the people cast off restraint and run wide. So vision is not just a picture of the future that you see. Vision is the discipline in the present that you give, not the picture of the future. He said, because vision is a yoke upon the neck of a man that restrains the man. So I see that you're a man of vision, not because of what you tell me about the future, but because of what you do in the present. So I know we are purpose-driven when I see what happens in the workplace. Now, this is about the purpose-driven workforce. So I want to dovetail to that. But let me just start and say something here. Just like I talked about the heart being the center, now that we've gone to the heart, we need to move outward as an organization. We need to move outwards. And in that outwards, the three parts has to be in place. So for example, we can't be purpose-driven if we don't look at our decision-making rights. We can't be purpose-driven if as an organization we are not invested in the intellectual capital of our people. We can't be purpose-driven if we are not training in line with purpose. We can't be purpose-driven if we are not looking at the connection and the relationships in that organization. So I know you are purpose-driven by the things you reward. I know you are purpose-driven by the people you employ. I know you are purpose-driven by your empowerment system. I know you are purpose-driven by looking at those things. What would you reward? What would you sanction in this organization? It's a lifestyle, not a statement. Well, let me dovetail into the workforce and say, as a workforce, let me use Winston Churchill as an example as I begin to bring this to a close, to say you can actually find purpose in your work. There was a time we did a radio talk, and we talked about 3 levels of people in the workplace based on a study that was done. We talked about a job, a career, and a calling. A job, a career, and a calling. And we said that for the essence of a job is to earn a living. That's the essence. That when a man is in a job, he finds joy outside the job. So when you're in a job, the only thing a job does for you is to pay you your salary. So I come to work to earn money to fuel my passions outside the job. So the best days of my life is seen outside the workplace. So a man in a job, Monday through Friday, he's not excited, there's no energy, there's no enthusiasm, there's no passion. But outside on Friday, on Saturday, or seeing when he's in his party with his friend, you see all the energy and you're wondering, where is this energy coming from? That is a man who has a job. His energy is not in the workplace, his energy is outside. Then the second phase, based on the study that was done, is what is called a career. The person with a career is somebody who has a job, yes, but sees this as a path of growth towards attaining his or her dreams. So this career is for me to just grow. I am here to grow. So when there are no opportunities for growth, that career dream dies. So that's the career. And the third thing is a calling. Is that person who has a job, beyond seeing it as an opportunity for growth, he sees this that I was born to do this. He sees this as this is the reason why I live. That is purpose. And what the study showed is that you can, a cleaner can find purpose in his job. That it is not the nature of job or the task. Let me put it this way. It is not the nature of the task that determines whether it is a job, a career, or what? A calling. It's not the nature of the task. It's the individual that owns the task. That determines whether this for me is a job, this for me. So they saw doctors who initially this was a career, initially it was a calling, then before they found that it became a career for them, then after a while it's just a job. They saw secretaries who felt that this for me is a calling. We did a training recently in a major manufacturing firm, and I won't forget 2 people in that class, major manufacturing firm, and we asked them to introduce themselves, and somebody who said, I'm the head of this, I'm the head of sales, I'm the head of this. Fantastic position. I'm a general manager. Fantastic. One man stood up and said, I'm the head of transport and I like my job. The head of transport. Another person, when he went, got to another person, said, I'm the head of, whether I work in the transport division or something, and he says, I also love my job. And in my mind, those 2 statements, this week, that was when the training was done this week. In my mind, and connecting the tax. So I want to use Winston Churchill. And please suspend anything you have about him. You understand? Because I think there's no human being that is perfect. You understand? There are people that have issues, so you might have some reservations about him. But I want to bring a lesson from his life and discuss 4 things, you understand, based on purpose. Winston Churchill, you know the story. Chamberlain resigned as Prime Minister during the Second World War. May 10th, there, about 1940, Winston Churchill was called to form a government. And Britain, you know, was fighting a war. I want you to take a minute and read what Winston Churchill said on May 10th.